That's always I just can't get enough of that music. Welcome everybody to Hot Makes, Hot Makers, my friends, my people, the people I like hanging out with on a Monday night, and Jim. Welcome to the show. This is a show where we show off all the cool stuff that people have made in the maker community and tagged us in, because those are the coolest people, the people who have tagged us and stuff. Links. I'm Caleb, and this over there is
Pew, pew, pew,
Jim.
pew, 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 pew.
There
What's
we
up,
go,
everybody. How we doing?
our resident Oreo
Yeah, hungry
murderer.
tonight. I might have to
Yeah,
bust
what were you
open
eating?
a mini gym head and eat some Oreos out of it if I get too hungry.
You think those are still good?
No. What do I have?
No.
I had the pub mix hiding in the studio, so I just had a few pieces quick.
There you go.
I was running late.
All right, so everything we talk about in the show tonight will be in a link in the description of this video. If you enjoy the show tonight, please consider donating to the Oreos, or to the Oreos show fund, to the show's Oreo fund. There's a link to that in the description as well. Just include Hot Makes in a note so we can attribute it to the show. And then also the channel is monetized too, so if you want to throw some of those funky little stickers at us, you can do that too. We make sure you're watching on the main channel and subscribed over there. Nightbot should be posting that in chat, because we're also simulcasting on the HotMakes channel and the Edge of Tech channel. We've got over 1,000, decent number, over 1,000 subscribers, and we're trying to keep that growing. And that's it. That's everything I need to get through.
Do it.
Now we can do the fun stuff.
Yeah. I have fixed the document, so last week's Hot Makes are up, episode 152 and 153. So check out the doc. Let me know in the I'm just curious.
153. Holy crap.
I know, right? Let me know in the comments if you've ever, be serious, be truthful here. If you've ever looked at the Google Doc at any of the Hot Makes I've posted on any of the previous episodes. I'm just curious.
I don't want to know the answer to that.
Yeah.
I don't want to know how many people don't look at it.
Well, I do. I'm curious if it's worth even.
But you make the list. Of course you look at it.
Well, I look at it. Fred says I looked at it to see if my stuff was in there.
There you go. Okay. So that in that case, we know that Abby Math has looked at it, right?
Yeah, there you go. It looks like people have never looked. Music Dad, come on. No,
I appreciate the honesty. Honesty. Oh, here we go. I'll make a poll. We'll see what happens.
Okay, do it. And I've got a huge headache. Sorry, I started talking. Welcome everybody. We have an awesome show, like Caleb said. Fred, Fr3D, the 3D printing. However we want to say, we're going to find out. We're going to clear that up when we bring him in, right? Such a cool guest we have. That's going to be a lot of fun. What'd you do the last week? It's been a week, right? We haven't talked all week, so.
Yeah, we had a show last week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
the Murph recap. You want to do that again?
Oh yeah, that's right. Another Murph recap. How many Murph recaps can you do? No, I've been spending a lot more time trying to do just make things with my hands. I exited this weekend with cuts and scrapes, and my hand just spray painted to all hell, and I needed that. Like when I walk out of the shop on a weekend and my hands are dirty, I don't know how I'm going to get some certain stains out of my pants from the shop specifically. Nothing weird. I know that I've done something good, and I have things that I can show off. And I'm also trying to make more of an effort to show off the stuff that I'm working on, because it gives me good brain happy, as Sarah and I say. It gives me a good, like I've noticed when I do this stuff on the weekends, when I make more time to make things, no matter what it is, spending time in the shop. The guy that we're staying with has an immaculate shop. It's amazing. It's like a makerspace in his backyard. He's got all the tools. And if I spend time out there and I use the tools and I make cool stuff, I feel better, and my week starts off on a much better note. It's really good for my mental health. So I've started getting into some model making and painting. I've started getting into using laser that he got recently from one of my coworkers a lot more to make accessories for things, to make things. I'm not focusing as much on things to sell, although if I make something that I can templatize, I'll sell it. But I'm just focusing on making cool stuff for myself, and I'm actually working with a coworker to make him a guitar body. He's making a Fender Telecaster, and we're using his CNC to do that. So spending time in that shop just absolutely helps my mental health a lot, and I've been doing a lot of that this last week. What about you?
That probably doesn't make anyone more happy to hear than me. So I just want to throw it out there. Man.
It's been super helpful, dude.
You deserve it, and
I appreciate that.
It's awesome. I wait before we go any further. Happy birthday, Brian Vines. He's with us.
Yeah, today's Brian Vines' birthday, and he's here.
And he's here.
Look at this
happy
guy.
Birthday. Wait a minute.
Aren't there better things to do on your birthday? Nope. The answer to that is no.
Is it? I am messed up. Is K2 Kevin's birthday today too? Is that today?
No, that was Friday, 30th? Wasn't it? Liz can chime in on this because I think
been the 30th.
I think it was the 30th.
Sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the 30th. So happy birthday, K2 Kevin, as well. I dropped the ball on your print because I didn't see Liz's message. I'm sorry.
I saw it. I just didn't have time.
Birthday. Yeah, and Brian Vines, happy birthday.
The king of puns.
The only thing we could do to print for a dad joke was just not print one at all, because that's a joke, right? No.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez.
Happy birthday, guys. It was on the 30th. That's right.
Fantastic.
So happy birthday. Anyone else who has a birthday, happy birthday, by the way.
There's this guy locally that I found that apparently if you're a hunter, you can send him your deer to turn into venison, but he actually gives it back to you as quail. It's a real game changer.
See what you did there. I see what you,
hey, you bring up dad jokes. I can do dad jokes.
Yeah. No. Yeah, happy birthday to you guys and anyone else that had a birthday between last week and now. Shame on you, Jim. I know. I'm sorry. I even got I keep forgetting him. I took him off at home.
What'd you take off?
Kevin clip necklace lay. I got laid at Murph with a K2 Kevin lay with clips. Like he put it on me and everything. It was awesome. And I left it at home because, that's where you leave cool stuff, I guess. Happy birthday to anyone that had a birthday this year. I love it.
Hey, so, sometimes you just gotta put a blanket statement out there, cover your booty, We
have an awesome guest. We should probably get him in here. I know.
Let's just do it. Yeah.
Let's see.
Let's see if he's ready. You ready?
Go for it. Yeah.
All right. Let's do it. There he is.
Whoa. Hey guys.
Whoa.
Hey.
How's it going, man?
Yeah, good. All good.
So unfortunately, I didn't save some of my biggest questions and conversation points for the show because I just ended up asking you a bunch of stuff before the show. But that's okay because Jim's here. Jim can be our Luke Skywalker. He's our audience surrogate.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can
because he wasn't there for any of that.
I wasn't there. I came a little late. But
hey, that's never a problem.
First of all, is it Fred, Fr3D?
Fred, just Fred.
It's Fred. It's just Fred. Yeah. Okay, good. Freddie, Liz is going nuts here.
Liz is super like
Portuguese posh lord.
You probably get this question a lot, but is that wait, say what? Portuguese posh lord.
Yeah. Oh, that's that's a joke.
Top button undone. Best way to do it. Yes. Yeah. well, welcome to the show, Fred.
Thanks for joining us.
Talk to you about some really cool stuff you have going on. Before we dive too far, who are you? What do you do? And where can we find you? And then let's dive straight into it, like Caleb.
Okay. So, as we spoke, I'm Fred. I make dioramas, props, and some badges. All 3D printable, and you can find me on Twitter at the 3D printing, or on my website the3dprintingmagic.com, or on Patreon the 3D printing, and that's basically it.
Every time we say badges, I want to make the badges. We don't need no stinking badges quote. Yeah. But we do need badges because your stuff is cool.
Thank you.
I think if I remember right, like. It had to be a bunch of episodes ago when all of a sudden we started seeing those little like the little badge emblems, right? That's
Yeah.
what like
somebody tagged like a wall of the badges that you had made, and I dug through and I used that photo for the episode thumbnail and for the previews and stuff like that, just because I had to, because that was my first introduction to the stuff that you do, and I was immediately like, we gotta have this guy on. And then I think it was you that reached out to me, actually. I don't think I reached out to you. I think you reached out to me saying, hey, I saw you guys talking about me on the show. I'm happy to hop on.
Yeah, I believe so.
I think so. Which I really appreciate, because it's hard to keep track of things.
That's fine. I had a lot of the previous stuff shown in some of because I was tagged a couple of times in some of the work. But yeah, it was always like, oh, let me see if my stuff showed up on the Monday show. And
we appreciate that, but we mostly appreciate all the cool stuff you make that people tag.
Seriously.
Because, like, I mean, let's start with where do you want to start, Caleb? You want to start with the badges? We could start with the badges. Do you have a picture of that?
Well, I kind of want to start with. I kind of wanted to start with how you got started. Like, where are you? What do you? Did you start? I don't know. Like, how do you make this stuff, and how did you start making this stuff? I guess.
Yeah, sure. So, we was talking with Liz just half an hour ago about this. So I started with a Creality printer. I just wanted to get into the 3D printing. This was 5.5 years ago, and I started downloading some mini dudes, and then realizing there was a guy that actually made these by the ton. And of course, while you're doing mini dudes, I also wanted to add a little bit more to them, so I started designing some bases in Tinkercad, and then getting some parts from here and there. And I realized that wasn't really enough. I wanted more, so I started using some software. I had some experience in working with kind of more architectural software. So I started using Onshape and then onto Fusion 360, and starting building some bases for the minis. I joined Waxer's Patreon way too long ago, and basically we've been working together on, building stuff for the minis, and I've built hundreds and hundreds of dioramas for Waxer's minis. And as I started doing, probably
that's
hundreds.
So many.
Yeah, so that's how I started doing it, and he's always pushed me to do more and more and more and more stuff, and not just focus on the mini dudes, because they are super cool, but again, not everyone has or wants to print a mini dude. So then I moved on to doing also props, so all of these above that I started making, and end of last year I got my hands on some bamboos. And
that's a game changer. I was literally just texting my friend before the show about his P1P that came in.
Yeah. So to me, it was about, and it's always been about the AMS and being able to do multicolor prints.
So is that how you're doing a lot of your badges then?
All of the badges are
that's awesome.
Multicolor.
That's awesome.
So that's when I started kind of thinking, okay, where can I go a bit further with the multicolor, and started making. I didn't have a name for them, so I started calling them badges, although nowadays I've done stuff that is a bit more complex than just badges, where kind of a little bit like UForge does, but these are all manually done. So I call them paintings or posters.
Nice.
And doing that kind of stuff. So that image that you mentioned was, I did a project which was called the 100 Nerds Badges. So I made that
was the one. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
here I'm pulling up there we go, get a website going.
Yeah, so as you can see, most of that stuff, and I haven't had time to update, that's mostly the dioramas.
But you've got, so do you have your badges on here?
No, because I haven't had time to update that website. And
okay,
it's just been project after project. So mostly in that website there's the dioramas, there's tons of props. One of the things that I did, I do still have a lot on.
Here's some.
Yeah, so those were the initial ones, but those are
gotcha.
Layer changes or individual parts. And then I have also a lot of stuff for tabletop.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So anything that is not organic that I can actually model in Fusion, because that's the only thing I know how to do.
So you primarily do non-organic things. So
Yeah.
you said you started off with kind of having experience in Liz. You said you had started off having experience with architectural software. Is that kind of where you come from? Do you come from the architectural world or
Design, industrial design, and graphic design.
awesome? Which explains the more mechanical shape proficiency. Yeah, that's
and
awesome.
Again, Waxer has tried to teach me ZBrush, and I used ZBrush for a long time to add textures and some sculpting into the dioramas and some props. But yeah, I wouldn't say I'll be able to sculpt an organic figure at all.
Yep, that's I am unfortunately cursed with the same thing, and I don't have nearly the experience or talent that you do on this stuff. But when it comes to people asking me, hey, can you make a quick jig for this thing or something like that, I'm like, as long as it's squares, triangles, and circles, I'll be okay.
But the reality is, all of this stuff is exactly that. Even the badges, I've actually a lot of people ask me, oh, how did you make them? So I actually decided to make a tutorial on how to make multicolor badges using Fusion. So I published a video so that people could actually do them, and I then made another video of explaining how to actually print them in multicolor, because people didn't know how to actually bring all the parts together and print them in multicolor. Because it's different. You don't need to paint them. They come as separate objects, so you can actually just assign a color, and the print is much nicer that way.
So do you stick to 4-color on your stuff then?
No. Well, to be fair, I try and stick to something that people can use, but a lot of the times what my patrons said is do what makes you happy. So I actually have some posters that are now 12 colors.
That's awesome. That's cool.
Because Waxer's
there it is.
They gave me offered me for my birthday a third AMS, so I could actually do 12 colors.
This is so cool.
Oh wow, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I remember I'm going through your Twitter while Caleb's talking, and it's like, man, there's so much cool stuff. I think you did the diorama for, what was it, the alien? Diorama.
He did. It was him. Yeah. I used that one in the preview thing too, because I knew we would want to bring that up, because that's what started the conversation that created the Wexter's mini gym.
Yeah.
Because he looks.
I think it was.
I don't remember which episode that was.
I think it was Jerry from 3D Printing and Painting who did the diorama, and then during the show, Pooch is like, "Hey, that looks like you" or something.
Yeah, the Sigourney Weaver model looked like Jim because of the long curly hair.
Yeah, so we basically challenged Wexter to make a mini gym.
You guys talk for a second, because I'm going to see if I can find that.
Yeah,
I actually might have it too. But he actually took the mini, and he in emotion he pulled the hair off and he brought it over and dropped it on this one, and it was hilarious. And he did that when he actually showed it when we had him on as a guest, and but it was that diorama that started that whole thing, so that was pretty awesome.
That was at one point, I think one of the things with that alien diorama is I was running this competition where every month patrons would paint and create versions of the dioramas, and then I would give out a prize, an Amazon voucher. So I remember back then there was a lot of dioramas that were popping up on Twitter and were being tagged because a lot of people were doing some really good stuff with it. And that was super fun.
I'm digging through our episodes here to see if I can find.
It's one where Wexter was on.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
I mean, and you do some. I mean, the stuff that you're doing with the multicolor is so cool. I mean, we could look at stuff all day.
I know. It's so crisp.
Well, to be honest, a lot of the times, my biggest concern is I'm not an expert in 3D printing. I print stuff. I know how to make them. I can press the button and send to the printer, and I understand how the file needs to be made to be printed well, correct? But sometimes a lot of the people, when people look at this, they look at this and say, "Oh, that print is not perfect." And what I need to make sure is that every time I'm making a model, that people can print it and it prints well.
There you go. There's your setup, right?
That's so I had the problem with where I'm going to put the AMSs, so I actually designed this the parts to make a structure for the AMSs, which unfortunately that structure is more expensive than the AMS itself, but it does do the job.
Isn't that a thing? I mean,
yeah.
that's like, we get this. It happens in making so much, where you get something and you're like, this is awesome, I need to put it somewhere, and then you make something bigger and more expensive than the thing you got to put it in or on.
And again, I'm a big fan of, and I
so
believe
good.
that's not only this stuff that isn't functional, but you can use a 3D printer for super functional stuff, and that cabinet was super nice to make, and I'm actually making a second one now.
I love those. Those are so cool.
Yeah.
There you go.
And that behind is the Star Wars trench that I modeled and 3D printed, which is also modular, so you can actually make it as big as you want.
Oh, really?
Ooh, don't tempt me.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, that's awesome.
I love and I just love the stuff that you put together. So do you model all the scenes here?
Yeah. Everything except for the minis I made from
That's so fun.
the Rebel transporter. The Rebel transporter actually was made for tabletop, and then I scaled it up and adjusted it so they could be printed big. All of the diorama, the war room, everything.
So good. And it just
This
looks
stuff is
so
crisp.
good. Yeah.
It's the color separate. It's the really crisp color separation and solid, well-designed parts that just make it look. It doesn't look 3D printed. Like when you hold the stuff in your photos, it looks like those like 3D, like PVC patches. You know?
Yeah. So a couple of things that I don't know. A lot of people have said, "Oh, print the stuff facing down and it looks much nicer." If I'm 3D printing it, I want it to be 3D printed and have some volume to it. On top of that, what I've learned is having different heights helps separate a little bit the colors and make them not kind of, fudge or smudge each other. So
Sure.
It works nice like that.
I love the Tetris one too.
Yeah.
So that is actually, that model was made 4 years ago. And I wanted to print it. I did print it, but I couldn't paint it by hand, and it would never look good. So now with the AMS, I was able to actually get that printed in color and looks.
I just
good.
love that the colors used to print it too. Like it looks like the old Game Boy screen colors. It's just too awesome.
In. You're dialed. Your profile's really dialed in here. Are you using a 0.2 or 0.4 nozzle?
0.4. I can't use. So goes back to that question about how many colors I use. I can't actually use stuff that most people wouldn't use, because then I can't test my things to make sure that everyone can print it. So it's box standard printer. So that's the trench. So that is what happens when I'm bored and I want to go and print someone else's models.
What? So is that whole thing printed?
Yeah. That's
how many pieces?
Oh, I don't know. That was 16 kilos of filament. Took me 4 months to print.
16 kilos.
That is too awesome.
I love it.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Oh.
That's.
Did Wexter make a little R2?
Yeah. So
I didn't know that.
Wexter, so before we started talking, he did have a couple of minis with dioramas, and one of them was Leia and R2D2. Which he had a diorama, but I wanted a more complex one, so that is a 2-part diorama.
That's cool.
I love the stuff it's just so cool that you put this stuff together, you model it, and you're like, oh, here's a sweet little diorama to go behind. It makes it
like, it's cool to have little collections of figures, especially these cute little like chubby figures, but like having little displays that they can stand in that are just about the size of them, and then so that you're not limited to just one large diorama of the same style, that you can have each individual figure in its own environment. I don't know how, but that somehow just changes the whole thing. It just changes the way the whole thing looks.
And I've seen some people do some really cool dioramas. And again, one of the things I've kind of tried to do after all these years is make sure I wasn't going too crazy, because at one point I have some dioramas that are like super big. Like I have a Turtles diorama, which is a building with 3 floors.
That's nice. And you designed that?
I designed everything. And yeah, I have it over there. I can
Ethan's
pull it in a
dad
bit.
said it best. They're cooler than Funko Pops because Funko Pops were super cool when they started coming out, but now that I just see them so often,
Yeah.
and there's those just I think the Wexter stuff is so much cooler, and you can make it yourself. That's what the extra cool part to it.
Yeah, and again, with the dioramas, what I've really like seeing, which is, unfortunately not as much as I would love to, maybe when we were running the competitions, is actually seeing people print them, but then paint them and put decorations on top,
Yeah.
and then some really talented people out there that do some amazing work. So.
Oh, I forgot who it was. Because I think it was the person who originally made the one that got us started on the conversation was
3D printed paint or Uncle
Yeah,
Funk?
yep. That had the rotating amber light and the fog and everything.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So.
Speaking of which, I did find the clip. I know it doesn't really have any. I know that it has more to do with Wexter than your stuff, Fred. But I wanted to pull it up because it's just really.
Well, it's all. It's all because of him, right? I mean.
Yeah. Also, I would like to point out this little number down here, and we're on 153. So this was almost 100 episodes ago.
Almost.
Yeah.
How crazy is that? Okay, let's see. Let me know if you can't hear the sound.
Don't lie. Did you actually start with it?
I hear it.
Sorry. Go ahead.
I hear it.
Okay, cool. And it's not going to play, of course. we have a similar thing to show off when we get to the HotMakes segment.
While we're waiting, we got $10 to the PayPal's from Dennis Crawford. Thank you so much for Oreo money. It
Thank you,
literally
sir.
says Oreos. Thank you so much. I just want to throw that out there. Thank you.
It might just be because I have too much going on one. So I've been doing the show since the house situation has been happening. I've been doing the show from the office when they let me, which has been quite a few weeks now.
In. If you shoot me the link, I might be able to pull it up here.
Oh yeah. Here I'll do you one better. I'll shoot it to you with the timestamp. So all you gotta do is click and go. There you go. I just think it's just fun. So. Okay. I just sent it to you, Jim.
Let's see if you can hear it with sound.
Wait. I'll unmute you.
He says,
"Hey,
we can hear it. I've been sitting on this for a minute, but here you go." And what I got was this. So there's a good old Sigourney going on to Jim.
It's so beautiful, and it's just that easy.
Yeah.
All you're gonna do is push the hair over.
Off of Sigourney Weaver, you drop it on that right there, and
Man, I miss the Pooch days. I miss his laugh.
Yeah,
he just had such a good vibe to him.
Yeah, so that was all because of Fred, really, because of Jerry's diorama, and then we
exactly.
So good stuff, man. But you've been doing some really cool multicolor stuff. I mean, like I said, your stuff is so dialed in. It looks so good,
so clean.
That one, for example, was really bad. The first print I did was really bad, and
really?
Yeah, the first print was awful. Like, it didn't come out nice. And again, it was because of
what happened to it?
I think it was because of the way the blue and the white were leveled, and when it was kind of ironing the layers, it just smudged everything, so that the whole top was a disaster. And again, this is why I don't print to show off the quality of the print. I print because I need to make sure that it will print well for people to print. And although sometimes or for example, if the curvature is too steep and it won't print well, or I think it happened with one of my badges that I misspelled the letter, misspelled the word, and of course, nobody said anything until one of my patrons that kind of fixes everything said to me, "Oh yeah, that's wrong." So.
I love.
Do you subtly show off? Do you kind of like sneakily show off future projects you're working on in the backgrounds of your photos?
Yeah, so I
would totally do that.
I had this question asked today, and this is one of the features I really like about the bamboo slicer is the ability to have the 32 beds, which actually, if it's super annoying, you can only have 32. Yeah, no more than that. Don't know why. Anyway, so I put all of the models that I'm working on the slicer. And then I take the pictures, of course, because people will see others in the back, right? And
it adds kind of, ironically, well, not ironically, but just like it's perfect because you are using your dioramas as the diorama for the photo. It's you've got your stuff as the background to the stuff you're making.
Yeah.
When you're
Even
showing
in the
it off.
office, sometimes I have stuff like I tend to work quite. Looking forward in the months to make sure I always have content done for my Patreons. So I might have badges that I printed 2 months ago that I won't release for the next 2 months. But I always like to show off some bits and bobs here, put some work in progress and stuff like that, just to show people that there's a lot of content coming.
It looks like are those all paints in the background too?
Yeah. So
you do like mini painting and stuff too?
That's just for the dioramas. I haven't done it because it's just difficult to find time, but all my stuff was painted, and a lot of the stuff that Jim showed with Pooch in the past, my stuff, were because of the paint jobs done on the dioramas. I still think I have it. I'll show you. This is the kind of stuff.
I wish I did too, Music Dad. I do not have.
Yeah, Music Dad says, I wish I had any artistic talent. Oh, that's awesome. That's so well painted.
Well, it's actually not great, but so
it's the overall. Yeah. That's so cool.
That is great compared to how I would have done it.
Well, it's just, I guess it's like everything, just practice. Because in the past, without the AMS, I had to print and paint everything. So I've done a lot of stuff like the tower, the Stargate Pyramid, and this is not my model, but I've painted this guy.
The Zabrak skull? Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that was just kind of... When I'm not in a mood to model anything, I just go and find some nice model from some other artist and then print it.
This guy? Okay. I love it. Well, I mean, you make some really cool stuff. And I'm attempting something for the first time. I put a 0.2 nozzle on my one of my Bamboo Lab printers, Morpheus, for the first time. I always wanted to, but here's a little teaser to what's coming. What
are you printing, Jim?
I'm not going to tell you what I'm printing, but I can tell you that it might be CMKY colors if you look at the AMS spot.
Nice.
I have never heard somebody say it's CMKY.
What do you want
yeah.
CMYK, yeah. So why is that the way it's set up in the thing? Or do you just do it that way?
I just said it the way I said it.
Okay.
No.
YMCK. YMCK.
But this is literally I just got this started before the show, and I gotta say, man, 0.2 nozzles take so long to print the first layer. Yeah. Holy mother of mercy.
Yeah. I think I rarely found the need for printing in a 0.2 nozzle, but this is actually one of the smallest prints I've done in FDM.
Oh wow, that was FDM?
And that's a 0.4 nozzle.
Whoa, nice. Awesome.
I've gone down to a 0.2 nozzle on printers before, but not. I don't know that I was even able to get something like that.
Yeah, and that is a multi-part print, so you rotates and has hinges on it.
Pete Pichet Webb, no textured plate. No, I swapped the textured plate out. Smelly Cat might have called it, and I didn't want the background to be all weird.
I think you gave away the secret.
Oh, darn. Stay tuned when I release the video next Sunday. So what else are you working on anything cool behind the scenes? Like, I know we talked a little bit, you guys were talking when I came in, you guys were already like deep into conversation.
Yeah.
And I apologize that I was running late. I got here and I'm like, I got to put this nozzle in. I got to get this print started.
Yeah.
And
I did have one more question before we get into that.
Double the time I thought it was going to take. So I'm like, I guess I'm not filming tonight because I need that to film. So, but yeah, go ahead, Caleb.
So when I asked, was it Aaron, Galactic Armory, when he was on, I asked him the same question because it always kind of fascinates me how people do this stuff. So for some of your props, how do you just eyeball things? Do you find like fan communities that have photo library references? Do you take screenshots yourself? Like, how do you make the props so accurate and clean?
Well, a lot of the time, probably more time is spent in references and research and finding the dimensions, and also because again, I'm not I need to have, like, it's very methodical, so I need to have the reference material in order to do it. A lot of the times, if I don't have the reference material, I'm not going to do it because I know it's never going to be, close to the thing. Then a lot of the times is finding the right dimensions for the prop you're
That was going to be my
making.
next question, yeah.
Yeah.
So for like a blaster, if you've got all the photos and references and stuff, or prop department photos or whatever, but all you have are photos, all you have are screenshots of people on set holding them, but you don't really have any official dimension of how long it's supposed to be to base everything else off of. How do you just not do it, or?
No, I guess there are things like, for example, a weapon like a pistol. Unless it's the Hellboy pistol where his hand is so big that it probably isn't to scale. And the majority of times there are more or less fixed dimensions for a weapon, like the distance between the finger and the back and all that stuff. So what you can do is approximate the reference image, adjust it to the right size and make sure that all the measurements make sense. And then you have, like, again, nobody's going to measure. Yeah, probably if Adam Savage goes and checks it, and if it's a millimeter off, he's going to be upset. But in my case, I would be fine.
Yeah. There was one project that I did a while ago. I was making Captain Mal's pistol from Firefly, and I had the 3D files, but I didn't know what scale to make them. And I made it. I literally took a screenshot, held my hand up against my computer screen, and just scaled up the screenshot until his hand was about the same size as my hand, and then made it that scale. And using that method, and this is why I like asking people this question. What I didn't think about was the fact that I have giant hands. Like, I can palm a basketball very, very easily. A lot of times Sarah makes fun of me because when we go to restaurants, I'll just like grab a cup, like almost all the way around it. And because of that, I ordered a leather holster for that pistol for a cosplay that I was working on, and it didn't fit in the holster.
It didn't fit,
because the holster was designed to fit like a prop replica that was like officially licensed and made by an actual company, but it wouldn't fit my pistol because I scaled it to fit in my giant hand. Visually.
I do have like a lot of notes on percentiles and dimensions for like machetes and baseball stuff and weapons, because again, that's what hey Viking it's because exactly of that. Like, I can't just grab, like, a lot of times what I do is I print some parts to make sure that it makes sense, that I've not messed up the dimensions, correct? But what I was actually testing out. This is a good example of how I'm not sure about dimensions. I was printing. This is Ratchet's hammer.
Yeah. Okay.
From Ratchets and Clank.
Yeah.
Which I've been working on. It's like a long project. Again, I have no clue what the dimensions of that are. Correct? Like,
it's completely cartoonish.
Yeah. So in that case, I'll just make it up.
It's like, how big is the Acme anvil? Like.
Yeah. But for real props, it's fine. And like knives and stuff like that, you just have.
I'm assuming, like, especially like Star Wars props and stuff, because you've got like real weapon references that are usually attached to the, or sometimes they're just extra pieces built onto a real gun. For Star Wars stuff. So yeah.
I have a couple of Star Wars and The Expanse, and I have some models that I've not test printed. A lot of people tested for me, and again, just using the same dimensions, and they work fine.
That's awesome.
Oh man, that's going much better now. I had to get through that first layer. I just checked on that because I heard that one of my bamboos in here clinking, so it must have been scanning, doing first layer scan. And I was like, I think it looked fine. and then I click back over, and it's actually moving now. So I mean,
there you go.
That makes me feel much more better than the way it was running with a point. That first layer took forever.
Hey, Fotis Mint is here. Hey, dude.
Fotis.
I was just talking to Fotis before the show.
Nice.
But Jim, you were getting at something before I jumped back into the dimensions question.
Yeah, I was getting at. I think you guys were when I jumped in. You guys were talking about. Are we talking about? We're not talking about.
You're talking about monolith?
We're talking about the monolith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought that was pretty dang awesome. I jumped on the site here, and I absolutely love these. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. What I love about them is they already look like they're from Star Wars. Like, and of course, I want to put Star Wars stuff in them.
Yeah. We were talking about talking a little bit about the display frames versions, which is where you can display stuff that is kind of more of a 2D style that can have a 3D dimension to it. I do.
And you made that work really well with the HueForge stuff.
Yeah. So
which we were just talking about that. Was that last week or the week before, Jim?
Yeah.
One of them. Yeah, there
That's
you go.
So cool.
That's a HueForge lithofine with a scarab that I actually got on Colts, and that's with the display frame.
And that has lights in it, right?
Yeah, so it has a light box on the back.
That's awesome.
And then it has French cleats here so that you can actually fix it to the wall.
You are definitely talking to Pooch on the French.
I know.
Pooch was who brought it up to you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he spent half of his time on Twitter talking about French cleats and then convinced everyone about using them. I didn't know much about it until Pooch started talking about it. So
they're really smart, and I love this. Yeah, see, look, with the lights, that's so cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, so that was actually a little bit different.
Is that a Star Trek display? Sorry, my eyes are...
So that is... Bob sent me for my birthday a couple of Star Trek memorabilia.
Yeah, that's 7 of 9.
Yeah, and then I decided to make an image that would be kind of a representation of a Borg
That
texture.
is so cool.
And I was then using HueForge with transparent patchy and some blacks and whites.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry, I am
Portuguese. Yes.
Portuguese cleats.
Oh God. Yeah, indeed.
So what I love about the French cleat thing though is that you can do, like, I would imagine if you make an extra wide display, let's say, and you put 2 sections of French cleats with a space between them, you could put that extra wide display up. And then if you wanted to swap that out, you could probably take that off and put 2 smaller displays on those spots.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's
so
super
the
cool.
The cleats are actually modular. They're made in 100 or 200 millimeters sections, so you screw them to the wall. And for the big cabinets, the only concern I have, which I haven't tested, but I'm going to do with the big display that I'm doing for the dateless ship that I'm printing, is because the display frame is 1.20 meters long, and the ship is around 750. So my worry is more with the weight on the French cleats. If you're putting something very heavy, if the French cleats are adequate for that, because there is actually a better way to fix a big cabinet to the wall with screws that go through the structure of the cabinet.
Yeah, let us know how you get. But you've been working on those cabinets for a very long time.
I think 3 months, 4 months printing and test printing. I was lucky enough to get some of my patrons that volunteered to spend hundreds of funds in filaments to test out this stuff. Make sure that everything printed, because again, I can do the test prints for a batch, but when we're talking about functional parts that need to be screwed in and screwed out and changed so often, I need to make sure that they print well. Also, because I didn't want supports, I wanted everything to be 3D printed. All the screws are 3D printed.
That's what I was going to bring up next. Yeah, I heard you guys talking about like your screws are 3D printed. You said there's like a bit that you 3D print for the screws.
Yeah. So initially I did a flat screw driver, but like when you're doing 20, 30 screws, you don't really kind of want to be doing that with a bit of plastic that is flat. So I actually modeled a screw bit, a hex screw bit, to go onto a screwdriver, so I could actually screw that.
That's awesome.
Parts. Yeah.
And I guess so. All of these things, like, it's like bringing up the monolith just makes me realize that, and this is a testament, I think, to you and your creative genius and your technical abilities. Like, I've been exposed to a lot of the stuff that you've done from completely exclusive sources. Because, like, I saw the Monolith Project, I saw your dioramas, I saw the badges, I saw all these things coming from different people who were showing them to me or just coming across them randomly. And it wasn't until I was talking to you about coming on this show that I was like, oh, all these cool things were made by the same dude. Like, so I didn't even realize that you were behind all of that stuff. I just kept being exposed to your stuff from different directions, which you just do cool stuff. That's just a sign that you do cool stuff. It's not like I found you and then looked at all the stuff you did. It was the other way around.
Yeah, I guess. Again, like we talked at the beginning, my origin in all this came from wanting to be in 3D printing and finding the mini dudes and really liking doing them. Correct, but then I found not only that, but I found a group of really cool people in his Discord that actually pushed me to do a lot more. And the more I did, and the more I got involved, the more I wanted to kind of do other stuff. Also, because again, like I said, and he says it, Wexer says this a lot, doing mini dudes dioramas is never going to be a thing, because unless people have the mini dudes, they're not going to print the dioramas.
Yeah.
So we've actually have done a push to get stuff on printables. So we kind of coordinated a lot of the mini dudes that were at the beginning with the dioramas to have stuff like there. But then I also wanted to do more stuff. So the tabletop was something that I wanted to do because, again, they're not figurines; they're just terrain and parts for it.
Yeah.
And again, I've been adding more stuff and doing more stuff, but it's not easy for someone that doesn't know who I am, because it's not just one thing. It's a lot of different things, correct? I think the badges made a big difference because everyone now, sees the badges and kind of goes like, oh, badges, because it's a much simpler. It's simpler. It's a normal thing that everyone understands, the brands or the logos or whatever. Right. Correct.
And it's so wide too, because there's so many different fandoms that it attaches to.
Yeah. So that made it much simpler for people to kind of want to do it than the dioramas or the props. My props sometimes have 100 parts on it, so that's not for everyone's taste. But yeah.
So my new goal now is to single-handedly prove you wrong. You said that people wouldn't print the dioramas if the minis weren't a thing. I'm going to print all of your dioramas, or as many of them as I can fit in one room, and I'm not going to print a single mini. They're just all going to sit there empty with no characters in them.
So there's actually, just to make sure that I don't say something that isn't true, I do have dioramas. I do have dioramas that are not for Wexer's minis.
Okay.
So
I just think it'd be funny to have a whole room of like the dioramas, but with no actual characters in them.
So I have.
I just like the environments.
Yeah. So, actually, one of the dioramas was shown in HotMakes. I think it was the first time one of my models was shown in HotMakes, which was the Batcave for DSK's Batmobile.
Oh God, that was forever ago.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. Also did the Photosmint Batman that was pretty cool. Still one of my favorite ones. I do have a lot of dioramas I've never released. I have a Butcher's Gate from Diablo that is
nice,
probably 70 centimeters wide that I've never released, for example. So I have other dioramas that aren't for Wexer's minis, but the majority, I guess, are.
That's awesome.
But if you still want to print the 100 dioramas, be my guest.
I said that, and he was going, okay, that one, this one costs this much. I've got 4 that cost this much, so he'd be spending about this much. Like,
yeah, and they're all printed in parts. Most of them, 90% are multi-parts. But yeah, they're easy to print. Almost no supports, and they're just
that's awesome.
Glue.
I love when people design for 3D printing, and they can make different things like no supports, or make it stronger here, make things build up, stuff like that. And
oh man, I've been loving Photosmint's stuff for that exact reason. Oh, I never actually posted that thing I was talking about last week. Maybe I'll go get it. Maybe I'll go get it while we're doing the HotMakes. We'll do it as the HotMakes.
Speaking of HotMakes, we're
Fred, do you want to hang out for HotMakes? Yep. Check out what people threw at us.
Yeah.
All right,
of course.
You guys want to jump on in?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay. Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
I love the screenshots that were going around of your face.
Denise says catching a replay of HotMakes, and that that's the screen I was froze on last week, I guess.
I didn't, but look at my face. What is going on with my face?
Yeah.
Oh, it's me. Oh, it's me. It's me replicating your face.
Yeah, you were mimicking me. That's funny.
Oh, jeez.
That's that.
Fantastic.
I love it. So many people jumped on that, and that's pretty funny.
Well, because you were frozen there for so long. That was also so awkward because I didn't know what to do. Like, I was just sitting there by myself. I didn't know what to say.
Right.
It's easier when you leave and we have a guest. But that was a week that we didn't have a guest, so I was just sitting there staring at the screen, and I'm like, guys, I don't know what to do. Like,
that was funny. You were mimicking me.
Yeah.
So local Baker, Michigan. Thanks to Josh at Alien 3D for the Keen Village Plastic Galactic Sapphire Filament. 0.8 nozzle, 0.4 layer, streamed to the Maker Deck.
That's a cool filament.
I still haven't made one of these. I got to.
The slug?
Yeah. I don't think is it a slug?
I printed one. It's a slug. I printed one forever ago. It's really fun.
I haven't done that.
Friendly articulated slug makes me suspicious. If you have to,
not mean at all.
Yeah, but maybe not. Maybe not though, because if you have to specify that it's a friendly slug, should I just trust your word for it?
Don't get it wet. No food.
Aren't slugs? Oh yeah, there you go. Well, I got bad news for you. Slugs are usually wet.
Yeah. If you have a problem, just throw some salt. We'll be okay. All right.
There you go.
That was salty. Let's see some serious 3D printing here. Optimizing an air engine. Yeah.
Oh, I watched this guy a while ago. This video is super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I forget what was going on in this video. It was a lot of See, I watched this whole video, and yeah, there we go. And I loved how he explained in depth how those, because I think we all had one of those like air hogs, like air pressure motors. You just pump it up with a bike, like a bike air pump, and then you just throw it, just like that. That is so cool.
Air right now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So cool, and it's all like mostly 3D printed here.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I love practical stuff, but like cool stuff like this too. Reminds me.
I guess you could say you like practical printing.
I do.
Also, it's not on your screen. It's on. It's not on your screen because it's like, but on my screen, there's this Discover More thing underneath, and it's another one of Llama's posts, and it's just from June 30th, and it's a picture that says, just a friendly 4th of July reminder that absolutely no one is going to watch the video fireworks you recorded on your phone. There it is. It's right there. It was there the whole time I was reading it, jerk. Now I feel dumb.
That is pretty funny.
Yeah, that is funny.
With your 3 fingers that are left, they need to be added on the end of that.
Okay. I almost took an eye out. Oh, if Brett, if you're still in the chat, he can vouch for me. Quick side story. I learned about the magic of bottle rockets one year. I had no idea what bottle rockets were. And it's, of course, as an adult child, the first time I figure out what bottle rockets are, I just want to shoot them at everything. And my stupid brain thought, I want to make sure it goes in a specific direction. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to hold the stick and aim it like this. And of course, it shot directly into my... I almost blinded myself because, you know, like when your skin burns so hot, when you get so hot of a burn, it skips the blistering phase and it just goes straight into just a hard, plasticky, white, singed, like skin. I had that, but in a little dot right here on my nose. If it was like a centimeter to the other direction, I would have just melted my eye.
You would have been a pirate.
I would have been a pirate. I would have had a long beard, a bald head, and an eye patch.
So
anyway,
don't take your eyes out. That's all I have to say.
That's my favorite.
Llama, yeah,
4th of July movie.
James Bruton.
So what's he working on?
Henry sucks.
I don't know what I'm looking at.
It's a vacuum.
But what am I? I see that there's some sort of contraption that he's attached to. But what am I? What's the significance of what I'm watching here? Oh, is it another like air powered thing? It is. That's cool.
Oh, this. Yeah. I think I've seen this video.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I don't.
There you go.
There's a thing that whole contraption reminds me of, and some people in the chat might know what I'm thinking of, but I'm definitely not going to say it out loud. Moving on.
Oh boy, yar.
Move on.
Yeah, firework. Everybody's posting their fireworks videos for next week. Do it.
There we go. Yeah, do it.
If you take them and do it, I'll show them.
Everybody, we'll just spend the entire...
I'll prove Llama wrong next week.
We'll just throw on the national anthem and we'll sit there and just watch. Okay, and our next HotMakes. Oh, look, it's a fireworks video. We haven't worked at 12 of these so far.
Get you, Kevin. Happy birthday. Local Maker
happy
Michigan
birthday, dude.
made this one for you.
Is this in that same filament as the slug? I think it is.
Might be.
I'm pretty sure it is. Because that was also Local Maker Michigan.
It doesn't say, but yeah. I love it. Also,
that's such a cool little Jeep.
Oh, you were a nicely modeled OP face. Talk about this.
Oh, yeah. So I don't have it with me, obviously, because I'm at the office. But like I was saying, you know, one of the things I've recently been getting into to have more brain happy is I've been getting into like some model stuff, and I don't necessarily have time or patience for like a full Gundam model or anything like that, but I love Transformers, and there's this company called YOLO Park that has been making kind of like partially pre-assembled Transformers models that have kind of like the base paints kind of blocked off, and then you're supposed to just detail paint them, but I've actually just completely disassembled the thing and started painting the pieces like from scratch. But it came with the face mask plate on the left there, and I really wanted to have the ability to swap it out for the mask list, like just like the actual Optimus Prime face that was in the movie too, if I wanted to, and it didn't come with that. So I found on Colts 3D, I found a model that somebody made. It was supposed to be a replacement head. It was an entire head for one of the smaller figures that you buy at like Target or whatever. But so I just took that and I just chopped his face off and then recreated the little tabs and everything for the mounting things that were on the masked faceplate that you saw in the other photo, and just attached the face to that and resin printed it. And it what I didn't mention, but part of what made me so proud about this is that it worked first try. Typically when I do that stuff, I have to I print it, I fit it, I make some adjustments or whatever. But no, I just sat there with some calipers. I did that thing like I was telling you earlier, Fred, where I just kind of like held it up against the screen to see if the proportions were quite right. And then first print, it just plugged right in.
Especially in resin, where the sizes and the shrinkage is super hard to get right.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that turned out first try.
Super good.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I've actually at home right now on the resin printer, I've got some replacement wheels for that kit too, because the little wheels that are on his shins don't really look like truck wheels. So I wanted to make it more realistic.
Nice.
More realistic.
More realistic. Yes. Quick shout out to Joel Telling, by the way, because my the resin printer that I had still is not currently working after the storm. I know that was months ago, but just going through tech support with Anycubic it just takes forever. So I'm still working on that. But Joel was like, "Yo, let me send you a resin printer that you can just get started on now." So, and clearly, it has been helping my mental state quite a bit having that. So, thanks, Joel.
An amazing model of Spider-Man 2099 by Wexter. Who's Wexter?
I don't know who Wexter
Another
is.
instant classic. Yeah. This was printed using printed solid at Jesse Bold Blue and Protopasta Candy Apple Red.
Those colors are amazing.
Together, especially.
Yeah, they look really
Yeah.
good.
I think together is how they really shine too.
Yeah, nice work.
That contrast.
Yeah, and the detail in this thing.
Yeah, that's what I was actually looking at. The detail in it, it just came out so good.
The texture and stuff. Yeah, look at that.
Jesus Christ.
That is slick.
It's like Slick 3R.
Ed says somebody take the coffee away from me. I actually haven't had much coffee today, sir.
Nice work, Glendon. This thing is on point. Nice work. All right, what else we got?
Yeah,
Liz.
super cool.
There
we go.
Pick some dude says happy birthday to one of them. K2 Kevin, great modeler and all around great dude. Hope your birthday is a blast. So I met Fix Some Dude and K2 Kevin and Liz at Murph.
I am so jealous.
It's like a trifecta.
I am so jealous.
Yeah.
I would have loved to meet all three of those people. They are fantastic people.
I would agree. If he printed on the Voron, I would definitely agree that thing's dialed in.
Yeah.
But nice and happy birthday again. Gotta love that color. What Fix Some Dude, what color is this?
Does it say?
Look at that.
It looks like a gray with some glitter.
Right. I like it. Whatever it is. All right, one more. Sam Prentice. This and HotMakes live outtakes. This is Stolen Valor from the Reality 3D
Stolen Valor.
I would venture to say, I don't know that I should have hit him up and asked him about this, but I'm pretty sure he took this from PrintFest.
I think he did. I think he said that
he
flew home with it, I think was his post. Did he post that on Twitter?
I
or
didn't even
Facebook?
see it.
Hang on.
We're gonna go look.
I think he posted it on somewhere else. I'm checking. No, I'm checking. Because I saw him post this picture and I think I saw him say something. Maybe he deleted it, but
hilarious. I could definitely see like the Creality peeps are like, you know,
yeah. It was on Facebook. He said, this is a huge and pretty complex print that I smuggled back from the USA. So he shoved it in a bag or something. Can you imagine that being like the head hanging out of his carry-on or something?
I'm just trying to figure out how the Queen allows dragons in England. I just,
I'm just thinking about, did he buy a second ticket to bring it?
I know. It looks massive.
Yeah.
An absolute unit.
Love it.
That's crazy.
Awesome work. Well, that was our hot makes of the day. Great
Of
job,
the week.
everybody. I love seeing it. And don't forget, you can check the link in the document or the link in the description below if I can talk. And look for episode 153.
Zombie says he saw that in person and almost knocked it over.
Oh, man. He's trying to create a zombie dragon. Is that what's happening here?
Yeah.
He used the cat carrier.
That would be awesome.
I was joking.
Can you imagine like being an airport worker and you grab a cat carrier, you look in and it's just this little robot dragon.
I do have to say I made that joke and it was a bad joke because of this comment.
Did you forget?
I didn't. I just it's the first thing that popped in. She was there for how long? It's
it was in everyone's nature.
Yeah.
Where are you located?
Sorry?
Where are you located at again?
I think
I'm in the UK.
Yeah,
UK.
So it's 1 a.m. for you right now, isn't it?
Yeah, 106. Yeah.
Missed it.
I'm sorry, dude.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Haven't cared much about the Queen since 1776. Oh God, I'm dying over here. Oh.
This is, dude, making dead queen jokes is like the day before 4th of July. There's something wrong with you people. Like,
just too soon.
Justin asks Fred if you're going to be at Smurf.
I believe so. We're
Awesome.
trying to organize it. But
That's going to be awesome.
You know, the next 4 or 5 months are going to be a little bit chaotic, so I'm not making a lot of plans.
RC Maniac says that the dragon is about 3 feet standing up.
Gee.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Oh, wow.
Fred, apparently you're hosting everybody for Smurf.
Yeah. So
he can print a diorama you can stay in.
There's an explanation, because last year we got together in Prague at Prusa, the gang from Wax's Discord. So I did say that if the group was coming over to the UK, that we might stay over for a day or so.
Yeah.
Well, as long as they bring their tents, they can stay. It might be a bit cold, but we'll figure it out.
Jim, you okay? Yeah. So I saw that too. Queen. Because we're making queen jokes.
Yeah. It's going bad.
All right. We should probably wrap up. I think we're ready to get moving.
I feel like I should be the one that's at 1 a.m. all like,
Yeah.
But anyways, before we go, real quick, next week I believe we have
we do
Retro
Maker.
On. So come check out Retro Maker next week. And also one more thing before we go. One more time, Fred, can you tell us who you are, what do you do, and where can we find your stuff?
So my name is Fred. I do dioramas, props, and badges, badges. And you can find me on Twitter at the 3D Printing, on Patreon at the 3D Printing, and on my website, the 3dprintingmagic.com.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us, dude. I really appreciate it.
Wait a minute. I'm coming then. I guess I'm coming too. No.
I awesome. Promise to lodge them and feed them.
Thank you. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Fred, thank you so much. I'm gonna stop like before everyone's like, hey, by the way, where's this payment that Fred's sending? But thank you so much, man. This has been awesome. I love the work.
Thank you.
Keep it up. Now I might have to jump on and to your Patreon or wherever you do.
Yeah, I think badges. I'm going to be grabbing some of those.
I absolutely love those badges. Mm-hmm. And where can we find those? Is it Patreon or?
Yeah, the dioramas are available. Some of them on printables. Props. Some of them on my manufacturing cults. And the badges, most of them are on my Patreon.
And links to all of those locations are going to be on your website too, right?
Yes.
Cool.
On my website there's a link, social links and everything where you can access everything you need.
This is awesome.
And that is in the description below. So everybody else, thank you guys so much. We will see you next week with Retro Maker. As just
I'm excited.
A Colorado native, and we'll have some fun. Everybody else, have a great week. Fred, thank you again so much.
Thank you
we'll
so
be right
much.
back with you. And bye, everybody. See you.
Bye.
Later.
Take care. Later.
See you next week.
Bye.
I can't believe they said I've had too much coffee. I don't know what to. I haven't had any coffee at all.